Welcome to House Rule, a podcast about role-playing. This is what we're going to call episode 11. I am Ed.
I'm glad we made a decision.
Introduce yourself.
This is Jeff. I'm Lee.
I'm Evo.
I'm Joe.
All right. It has been a while since we have done one of these things.
That's an understatement. It's been,
Since December?
Oh my god.
Was it December? I don't even think we put up the one we recorded in December, did we?
No, we did.
The episode 10 false start, which I'm going to just continue rolling with, because who's to say?
Fair enough.
Other than...
If someone wants to look at our archives, they can be confused.
Number 8 and 9 were unpublished, and they'll be floating around the internet at some point later in our careers.
Fun.
The deep net. Haunt us. Dude, you can buy our episode 9 and 10 with bitcoins.
If you can find them.
And depending on how good Bitcoin stock is.
But yeah,
they're an esoteric currency.
As it would happen, there's a good reason why we disappeared for so long. I mean, a reason. I don't want to assume that it's satisfactory.
No, it's a good reason.
Yeah, it's a good reason.
Let's not jump to conclusions.
Everyone moved, and now they're all gone.
Yep. That's actually a really accurate description.
Yeah.
At least from our end.
Yeah, it is pretty accurate. Several of us, that being myself, Jeff, and Ebo, and some people we know, moved across the country from our humble abodes in Minnesota, and now we live in California. And we abandoned Ed, and I guess now we abandoned Joe.
How dare you?
And I really enjoyed that part.
I can see why. I can only harass you verbally now.
Yeah, now I don't have to see your genitals or feel your saliva on my neck unexpectedly anymore. What?
Oh, don't worry. There will come a time.
I'm sure it was Joe's saliva.
That just got really real.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was Evo half the time, though, so...
Well,
I'm used to that.
Anyway.
And with that...
Enough spooky erotic poetry for the evening.
So yeah, we moved, and it's just taken a long time to get back into the swing of things.
Yep, and a little bit of different technology being used for the podcast than before. Hopefully, it will maintain a roughly equivalent quality. And
we'll see.
Keep on
nice.
Keep on getting better and better.
Well, so far, so good.
At least the content will be of equivalent quality.
Oh, great.
Oh, nay, better.
I've been hoping better, because if it's been the same, then you guys have some stuff to look forward to.
All right. But yeah, I mean, so, a little bit more distance means a little bit more trouble around the gaming table, given that the table is now, a few hundred miles across.
It just means now we need tech support.
Just means
do we ever?
Just means that now Joe and I can lie about our die rolls with impunity.
Yep.
Actually, it's kind of weird. The remote gaming thing actually brought a friend of ours who had moved away a long time ago sort of back into things, and so that was kind of cool.
Yeah, I guess it was sort of a thing that we hadn't really worked on a whole lot, because it was...
We had no reason to.
It would have been...
Yeah, because why would we want to play with him?
I was gonna say it would have been equally awkward for him probably to be playing with us all in the same room together, and him phoning it in.
Yeah.
As the only one, probably.
Sort of talking head of a player.
Yeah, I don't know. When we were originally looking at, the the availability of online role playing like this, I saw a YouTube video that somebody made of themselves literally having a talking head. He was like, they had a monitor set up where the guy would normally sit at their table, and they Skyped him in with the monitor sitting on the edge of the table.
See, I just picture those fancy mason jars they have from Futurama.
Oh yeah, dude. Like Nixon.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Or Reagan.
We could do a head link jar situation.
But
I already think that's what you guys are.
Just a talking head in a mason jar.
You can't prove otherwise.
I guess I'd say I was really surprised at how quickly just hearing the voices seemed natural. I guess I don't know.
Yeah, it really didn't take that long to get into the swing of it.
I mean, we have kind of a video thing on Skype, but it's pretty much garbage.
That's
Yeah, at this point.
a really kind way of saying it.
Yeah. Although we have come up with some. Well, I guess when I say we, I mean Jeff has come up with the means for us to actually have a battle board, because it is kind of difficult to run any type of D&D or setting without having some visualization of where you're at, especially with as many feats and skills revolve around your location on the board relative to everyone else.
Yeah. D&D, I think, is probably one of the... I mean, I say it's one of the worst offenders, but, I haven't played, like, GURPS.
Well, I would...
or that bullshit. I'm sure some of those other things have similar problems.
If you compare it to, like, a White Wolf, where you don't usually have a board,
yeah,
and it's all kind of in your head anyway, that would probably be a lot easier.
Yeah, and I mean, in White Wolf, when the DM draws on the board, he's drawing the, the general layout. This is the building you're in, and this is some stairs maybe, and there's a guy on the street taking a crap.
This is a rough sketch of stuff I just thought of right now.
Exactly. But, in D&D, you need that board.
I mean, I guess
that's an important fixture.
I didn't even really. I didn't have a lot of experience with a board or a mat or any sort of visual representation beyond a crude drawing for a lot of years. After I started gaming it at all, I didn't even know that you were supposed to. So I was.
I think second edition didn't have that really, though.
Well,
like
I don't know. It didn't really. Maybe it wasn't quite as prominent, but
that's true.
And with the White Wolf background too, that didn't really feed into that all that much. But yeah, I mean, so far we have not really knocked one out of the park with the visual representation.
No.
Although as far as our Chicago friend is concerned, he's been really raring to go. Like every time we talk to him, he's like, "Hey, when are you running that game? Hey, when are you doing that again? I want to do that some more. It's been really fun." And I'm like, to put this into perspective, he has had far and away the most difficulty with this situation. Like, there have been times when the program that Jeff made wasn't working just for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And his video was ages behind, or he was having some other crazy internet crap problems, and he has just been crazy excited to get this working.
Yeah, and I just hope that eventually we settle into a not needing tech support sort of thing, and then it just gets even more natural. But for anyone I'd say who wants to try remote role-playing, if they haven't already, there is going to be a barrier of entry. There's going to be a buy-in before, not so much before it feels natural, but before it runs smoothly.
Yeah, the feeling natural is the easy part.
Yeah, there's not an easy click-and-play solution to that at the moment, at least that we've discovered. If anybody has one, good gravy, let us know.
I don't want to put...
I don't want to
put Jeff on
map
this.
tools.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't want to put Jeff on the spot too much in that regard, but why don't you like map tools? I don't really... I didn't think it looked all that bad. Was there anything you...
Yeah, no, that's fine. We couldn't get it to work. It's something having to do with, like, port forwarding and stuff. Like, we need to set it up as a server, and Rory couldn't connect to it, and no one could. But it worked that one time, and I didn't know why.
Yeah, I guess... I think that one time is the only time I was involved with it, so I thought that it seemed good, but for some reason we were rejecting it and in favor of what seems to be a bizarre mad science solution.
I think it just didn't work with Rory's was the thing. I got it to work fine, but...
I mean, honestly...
I got it to work poorly.
Oh, yeah, well, poorly.
Also, when we had that problem when we were running it, and... when we had Skype going, it might have just been because of how much Skype we had going, like fucking 5 video feeds and shit. But like, Map Tools was getting that really horrific lag that we were getting accumulated, and that's like 10 times worse with Map Tools. It just accumulated way faster.
Also, like, from my point of view, if I start a project, I end up going into take over the world mode pretty much immediately. So there's like... doing it web-based prevents the need for that sort of server crap. and it also makes it accessible cross-platform. There's issues with versions and stuff like that. So it's, it was crappy, but hopefully it'll end up quite a bit more modern and better, and maybe we can eventually make it available to other people is the idea.
Yeah, well, and you had one kind of intermediary solution, which was sort of a video stream with John Madden style marker writing.
It was so bad.
Oh, that was the best worst idea ever.
It was an awesome idea.
Terrible idea.
Hilariously bad.
I think it would have worked okay if the video hadn't been lagged,
or if the images weren't possible from both sides of the...
Yeah, because then Joe can draw dicks all over everything that I see.
So many dicks.
Yeah, thanks.
I don't know if Joe drawing dicks was a positive or a negative for the experience.
I think it was a net positive.
Oh, no, I think it started positive, and then he just gradually brought it down.
On the one,
it was when he drew the
overall positive, but that's iffy.
It was when he drew the big veiny dick with like the hairy balls and all the detail and stuff, and I was like, we've gone down a path that I did not wish to go down. The path was
skill.
Gay pornography.
On the one hand, you have the video lagging by like 3 to 5 minutes at the worst, but Joe's dick pictures always materialize pretty quick.
Yeah,
like magic.
How else was I supposed to pass the time?
I don't know. Any other thing that you could have done?
I don't know.
Be careful what you ask for.
Contributing to the game. Nah.
No. That's too
That's
easy.
ridiculous.
But bringing up the intermediate horrific solution with the drawing on the live stream does bring up an interesting thing. We actually got an own TV page. That would be
they let us in.
own3d.tv. And they let us in. They're a gaming live streaming website, and apparently we fit the bill.
Yeah, Lee was
some weird edge case.
Yeah, Lee was telling me, he was saying that it's gaming, so we should be able to do it. But I go there and it's all League of Legends and StarCraft. I mean, it's all video gaming, and so I'm like, well, I don't want to get kicked out. So I was honest that we're tabletop role playing, and they approved it. So
yep. So we have that. So someday in the maybe not so distant future, if we actually have people who are interested, we might, run one of these things.
Next session of the Drow game, I want to live stream.
Yeah? Yeah. Dude, we'll get the word out there on Reddit. Some people might even watch.
There you go.
Live stream. Yep.
Yeah. That'll be an option. And it'll be and we might even in the far future let you draw on it. If you want to draw dicks too.
Also be some video game streaming.
You too can disrupt gameplay with pictures of dicks.
Oh, the pictures of dicks thing. That's going to be a thing, isn't it? Our remote gaming experience has been buggy and kind of crummy, but we've managed to pump out a few sessions, and
it's been overall positive.
Still seeming wanting to go back for more, so
yeah,
hopefully
absolutely.
It's only going to get better from here on out.
Yeah, I'm definitely
we'll this,
up for it the next time. Yeah.
Maybe we'll get Rory in on it and see why it is that he has such enthusiasm for such a series of horrific incidents
that were mostly headed in his direction.
Well, I think there's probably a minor case of everyone else gets to play but me. As that's been I guess his end has been the receiving of all, at least the majority of the technical issues.
I'd like to throw this out there. At its worst, here's what happened to Rory. We were all using the program that Jeff made that allowed us to draw on the website, which was at the time pretty bad. And Rory got kicked out for reasons we don't entirely understand, and was not allowed back in for the entire night.
I understand.
Well, okay.
He was porous with the details.
So Jeff aimed an attack at Rory that wouldn't allow him to play the game anymore. We used the live stream, and I started streaming the video, and then I captured that video with Skype, and he looked at it on Skype and asked me to move his character.
I forgot we did that. That was horrible.
It was horrible, but it worked. And
It did work.
It was actually a really ironic evening. It was so frustrating. We spent 3 hours trying to get all this stuff to work, and then it ended up mostly being a role-playing session. Like, you guys rolled like champs on like stealth. Like you like all this, we get this thing to work, and you guys like literally did everything you could to avoid a single combat encounter.
We had one fight, right? And it wasn't even very big.
It wasn't a fight. I finally put stuff on Battleboard, and you're like, no, I'm first level spells, but I can still make you invisible and go steal the thing and come back. And I'm like,
Oh, yeah, it was ice golems that we just completely ignored.
Yeah.
That's right.
Pathfinder advice for any GMs: if you have ice golems guarding things, that's a terrible idea. They can't spot anything or chase you. So
that is true. I was an invisible person who carried around a very heavy, large chest of stuff down 5 stories of a tower, being with ice golems wandering around, and they didn't notice.
Their perception checks are so bad.
Well, thanks, Jeff.
Ever.
And we're drow.
You see, I'm a little simpler. I'm like, oh my god, ice golems. Yeah, Drow Wizard would put that there. That's really cool. And they're like CR7 or something like that. Oh, badass. And they can't do anything. So.
Ice golems don't even get to fight.
No.
It was a good session, though.
But,
They did kill one guy, though. Although that was...
Oh, yeah, and I didn't get to hear music in that session.
I got some guy killed, but in all fairness, he was asking for it.
Yeah, him
By being asleep?
By being a part of Drow Society.
Yeah.
Lee brought up
I'll give you that.
Or the magic school.
Lee brought up one other point, which was like the music thing. Our group has kind of a proclivity for music in games, and that has been a weird kind of problem that it's not really possible.
Yeah, that's a
That
tough
is
one to
true.
do.
Jeff's trying to make his program so that it plays music, too.
oh, well.
I mean, we
Jeff
used,
has all these
did.
creepy portents, you know? It's like, oh, it'll do it. Just wait.
well, we sort of have been doing with you guys in California and Joe and I in Minnesota in the same room, and it's just like, I mean, we basically last time figured out that we have to face the facts that we need everybody to be wearing headphones to keep everybody's sound segregated. And even that I don't think is solving all of the problems that I was having last time, because I was hearing way too much of my own voice bouncing back over Skype, and it...
We weren't using
Really
headphones.
bad quality.
I was using a microphone,
Yeah.
and we had the Mac. Oh, it was all
When-
just so bad.
When we have headphones on our end also, that should help you out a lot.
I think
The Mac apparently has a speaker on it. That
Oh yeah, a microphone that you can't turn off.
microphone that you can't turn off.
Yeah, if you buy a headset, you can't just plug it into a Mac.
No.
Just in case you don't know that.
They let you do
Also,
that.
they were
Oh,
iPhone.
you can't just change the input, really?
They were
No,
iPhone headphones.
there's one jack. There's like one slot that's for both the headphones and the microphone.
a cell...
I-
No.
My phone headphones have, their headphones and they've got the microphone on it, and they wouldn't work with the Mac.
Yeah, and you'd think it'd be the ssame one jack thing, but it's not.
No dice.
Wow.
Macs really just want to bone you right in the butt.
Yeah, I guess. Anyway,
That
the
is...
The technical problem that was experiencing last time was I had my computer here. Joe brought his laptop. He had the music working, so he was playing it with his speakers. But then that was causing a whole bunch of obnoxious loud music over Skype. So he put his headphones in so he could hear. But then I could hear myself over his microphone as well as my own. Later I found out that my microphone was actually not working, and I was just talking at Joe's. But the point is
Well, I think it's actually a really unique problem, because when I hear about people talking about remote gaming, everyone is alone, basically. Whereas this, we have like one guy alone, a group of 3, and a group of 2. So it's sort of this weird setup, because if we're on Skype you can't mute people individually per person, but on Ventrilo you can. But on Ventrilo there's this weird delay based on what codec you're using. So I mean it's kind of a crummy problem, and I think it's going to take us a while to get that, I don't know, straightened out really well.
Well, I mean,
I think it'll happen. I think Vent is probably going to be the appropriate
maybe.
avenue for that.
Yeah, we'll see.
Either way,
Then I can turn myself off so I can't double, triple hear myself.
It doesn't seem particularly user-friendly, though. Like, I opened that up and was like, I have no idea what I'm looking at. And I'm not like, retarded when it comes to computers, but I definitely had to have Jeff, like, walk me through, okay, now type in this, and then go over here and click on that, and now it doesn't work and we don't know why. But, okay, now it works.
Yeah, Vent is like MIRC. It's all twiddly knobs and no instruction manual.
It's old school. It's, yeah.
Well, I mean, either way, I think the game is still good enough to bring the boys to the yard, as it were. And we're
Indeed.
all into it, and...
Sorry, I was there for his badunkadunk.
There is a lot of junk in Ed's trunk. There's no doubt about that.
Oh,
Nice.
All right, well, I mean, was there anything else anybody really wanted to get in about the long-distance remote gaming, or...
No, I think we'll definitely come back to this subject when we have more experience. We should definitely.
Once we've fixed all of the
We
problems.
can update people, or even when we fix some of the problems.
The role playing hasn't seemed to really suffer. Is
Yeah,
what
honestly.
I would point out.
Yeah.
Having us all together, even over the internet, really feels just like us all staying up in the same room. You know,
Yeah,
late
and
at
it's
night.
drunk. Joe draws dicks.
Yeah, it's nothing has
Exactly the same.
Yeah, there's no way to edit that out, so for anyone hearing that, our rice is done.
changed. Yay!
That is gonna get dry. So, what were we going to talk about next?
Yeah,
Because already forgot.
I wanted to
I'm
give
letting you run this show, Ed.
a little bit of attention to a pretty sweet book that just came out for the Pathfinder role-playing game.
First read.
Yeah, this is a first read of
It's been a while.
Ultimate Combat, which is like brand spanking new, in fact. Yeah.
We're really Paizo nerds now, aren't we?
We
Kind of,
yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, they are pretty good at what they do.
I mean, I feel like they've been bringing out a lot of stuff over the past year or so, and it's just I'm always pleased to see them come out with something new. I don't know,
because
I don't always get every
quality
single
seems
thing.
really high in general.
Like, you remember when this is way back, 3.0 first came out? Like, they came out with those expansion books like Sword and the Fist and stuff like that? Like, those were always really fun when they came out. And these feel like that, but just the books are bigger.
Way higher quality.
I think
Those
part of
books
it
were
too.
terrible.
Part of it too is that they're subdividing their categories a little bit less. Like Ultimate Magic came out a little while ago, and Ultimate Combat, and I don't foresee them necessarily coming out with another one in the same series, but they might surprise me. But it's it's a little bit less compartmentalized and a little bit more just about. I mean, like Ultimate Combat has a lot of spells. Ultimate Magic had a lot of feats. They're not really quite so segregated.
Yeah.
Do you know if they have anything else in the works for that? Because I thought when they had Ultimate Mage come out or Ultimate Magic come out,
Right.
that we already knew that Ultimate Combat was
I guess
being play tested.
I did not have the presence of mind to look into any future releases, but
I remember hearing some sort of. This was quite a while back when I was looking at playing a Psionic class. But I remember hearing that that Paizo was working on their own Psionic stuff to be like official Pathfinder stuff, and I haven't heard anything about it since.
Oh, that would be nice, because there's like these I don't know, these ad hoc Psionic rules that are on the SRD, and they are basically cut and paste from the old stuff. I mean, there's some minor changes.
I guess I was actually kind of surprised by how much that they changed, but maybe I'm just.
They changed a lot of the thing that didn't change. Like they changed a lot of the low level stuff and the like class balance and stuff. But like the stuff that didn't change in that book was the most startling to me. Like the high power stuff is largely the same.
I mean, I think what I was pointing at was mainly like the psionic disciplines now behave more like the Pathfinder sorcerer bloodlines or whatever you call them. And
I think those are done well.
I think that's a different of a point of view there, because if I'm looking at this from the point of view of a GM, because for some reason I was, saddled with a lot of the Psionic players,
Right.
And there are, these handful of powers that just break the rules in these crazy ways.
Yeah, they do.
And they still do.
They are still there. But
And the worst is that almost all of those powers are telepath powers. And lo and behold,
No, that is not true. That is picking on me. They're all over the place.
I approve of picking on Evo, but I mean, in my game, I don't really care if the rules are broken here and there. It doesn't bother me that much. But like, it's this thing where in an officially published Paizo book, I'm pretty sure all of that would be fixed. And
yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, okay. So back
there would be
to,
no Will Saber die.
Back to Ultimate Combat, though, the subject at hand.
Yes, sorry.
No, I mean, this book is. I mean, I was really excited about this. They had playtest stuff on the SRD website for a while, and I was getting kind of jazzed for it. I mean, a huge boatload of new feats.
That section was so big that I started looking at it. I read like 2 feats, and then I looked ahead and decided to skim the rest of it. And when I mean skim, I mean I looked at a couple feat names, thought a couple of them were funny dick jokes, and then moved on to the next section.
They had they also brought in one completely new 20 level class and 2 what they call alternate classes, which are sort of like they're a little bit more modified than like the build options that are in the book too. So like the gunslinger is the brand new class. If it's sort of like they say, like if you want to include firearms in your game, but if somebody wants to play it, you're gonna have to include them, or else they're not going to. Pretty cool class. Got a lot of sort of fighter kind of moxie, plus mechanics to deal with the new firearms rules that they introduced in the same book.
Are a lot of the feats the same, or at least are there a lot of new feats for that class that are basically just ranged combat feats but with a gun?
Well, I mean, they had a number of feats for them. They can benefit from most normal ranged combat feats, and they also have like a series of abilities of their own called deeds, which are sort of like they spend points that they have called grit. Which
there's a lot of grit stuff.
Yeah. So like every time we review or first read a Paizo book, we talk about the art because it's always awesome.
Yes.
One thing I'd like to mention about the gunslinger picture is it looks like a cowboy samurai pirate.
It really does.
And it's a lady.
That's the best of all things.
Yeah,
honestly,
that's all 4 things. If Ninja was in there somewhere.
Well, then you wouldn't be able to see it.
Yeah. Exactly.
I browsed this book pretty briefly before we started talking about it, and I mean, we like Jeff said, we always mention it, but the art in this book is outstanding per usual. I mean, there was no art that I didn't think was like at least cool, and a lot of it was extremely cool. They're a little more sparing with it than I think they have been in other books, but it's still all, very, very cool. I mean, just the art is outstanding again. So go Paizo.
Yeah, if you by chance had heard some of the previous podcasts, we ran kind of like a rotating GM steampunk sort of themed thing, and it would have been cool to have Gunslinger in that.
Yeah, because we had the guns in it. We had our own janky-ass gun rules.
Yeah, so in D&D, they had about 6 lines and 1 table of modern guns. Is there more in this book than that?
Yeah, they have
lots more.
They have a number of different guns. They have a lot of like new systems specifically for like, powder and like, whether your powder's wet or misfires and various gun malfunctions that you can have. The gunslinger mainly gets to ignore a lot of like the pitfalls of wielding guns, but like anybody can be proficient with them. They just have to be a little more careful.
Now, how modern does this go? This book?
I think it's mainly like it's not super modern. The firearms are mainly like musket, blunderbuss, pistol. I think there might be some slightly more advanced than that, but they're not like cowboy repeater or like machine guns or anything.
So you won't be buying a sniper rifle?
Not exactly. Well,
no.
not necessarily.
You can probably hit from far away, but you know.
And I mean, I know that you can get. There's like a rifle listed in there. There's also a musket with an axe blade on the barrel, which is pretty rockin'. I also read in a pretty good amount of detail the alternate classes which they added, which were samurai and ninja. Samurai is an alternate class for cavalier, and ninja is an alternate rogue. I really thought that the ninja was like kind of inspired. It was like really interesting, like as compared to the 3.5 D&D ninja, which was kind of its own class and basically added
Stupid.
That sudden strike business.
It basically wanted to be a rogue, but they wanted them to be a little bit more more fighter-like, I guess. So they took away the good part about sneak attack and gave them a bunch of other stuff. The way Ultimate Combat has handled ninja is essentially removing the non-sneak attack mechanic in rogues, the rogue talents, and replace them with ninja tricks, which are very much like rogue talents, except that ninjas also get a key pool like monks get, which helps to power some of their ninja tricks. And
They seem a little bit more magical.
They kind of combine the more mystic elements of monk with the martial and stealth elements of rogue.
Nice.
The ninjas did look cool. I didn't think that the samurai, as much as I love samurais, and I fucking love samurais, I didn't think that the samurai was quite as amazing.
Well, I mean, the ninja is just a picture of an empty room, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
I
It was
really
the amazing art we were talking about.
Blank page.
I really thought that the ninja tried to kind of bring something new and unique to the table, whereas I thought that the samurai, you could almost have just made it one of the orders that the cavalier could choose based on how much they changed in it. Not very much at all.
Okay.
Like they're proficient with one Eastern weapon, the katana or wakizashi, or maybe other one too. I can't recall off the top of my head.
Shuriken?
Well, they get like a certain.
They better be proficient with shurikens.
I
Are
don't.
you talking about samurais?
Samurais.
Oh, I lied. Never mind.
I don't.
I thought we were still talking about ninjas.
Oh, we're gonna get the nerd rage emails now.
Yeah, I'm writing one up as we speak.
I don't have the book open in front of me right now, but it's they get an ability called like Resolve or something to that effect, which is kind of something new that Cavaliers don't get. But I mean, they still get the challenge, which I think is appropriate for a samurai, but not unique. And they get the mount, which I know that it's not uncommon, I guess, for fictional samurai to ride horses. It's just I don't feel like it's particularly integral to the flavor of a samurai to ride a horse.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah, does it seem like a samurai at all, or does it?
I think it seems good. I just think that you could build just as good a samurai using a fighter, and if I were to play a samurai, I definitely would.
Is there some kind of mechanic where you have to introduce yourself to everyone you kill before you kill them?
I mean, you have the challenge mechanic, which is one of those, like you could make a little intro for yourself and say like, prepare to die, but
then you close your eyes and put your sword down, and then everyone around you dies, Zatuichi style. Yeah, it'd be pretty sweet.
Oh, fun. I like this mechanic.
I don't think.
Sorry.
I don't think either of the alternate classes is bad. I thought that the ninja added a tremendous amount of flavor, whereas the samurai kind of tweaked some things around that, didn't necessarily warrant listing it as its own class, I guess.
Yeah.
Sure. Whoever said that this book is like just chocked full of data more than pictures, it really is. There's a huge section for both alternate class abilities and additional feats.
Mm-hmm.
That's basically bait to make Ebo not be able to make his character ever.
They
Yeah,
It's my favorite kind of bait.
it takes me a long time to make my characters. I like them to be
Perfect.
last minute. Nope, last minute. That's it.
Last minute and indecisive.
they
Yes.
also
I will not finish my making my character until at least the second session.
15 minutes in.
they also included
15 minutes.
a huge section with a lot of new equipment, mainly like Eastern style weapons and armor to support the samurai and ninja and anything else in that milieu that you might want to play, like katanas, 3-section staff, samurai armor.
Pretty cool stuff.
Yeah,
Which is weird because I can't think of a single role-playing geek who would want to use a katana.
None ever. Nope.
No.
Not anyone who's ever seen a movie or watched an anime or a
Yeah,
TV
they're
show.
really dumb.
And I have not read the section in very much detail, but they did have a chapter on vehicles, which has been done before in D&D materials, but I'm very eager to see how the Pathfinder guys take the reins, pun intended, of that, and just I want to see what they do with it, because it's always something that I like.
I always think it's been a sort of a tricky subject for D&D to delve into. You
Right.
know, I don't think it's ever worked particularly well, no matter how cool vehicles are.
Well,
Vehicles are just awkward on a grid. I don't know.
They are.
anytime you
So
have to
here's something.
monitor your turning radius or whatever.
Yeah,
Screw.
the only reason I would want to bring a vehicle into is if you're doing some type of Oregon Trail mod where they were like, wagon tongues and dysentery.
Dysentery.
Oh, it's always the dysentery.
Anyway, they also did include a whole bunch of gladiatorial weapons.
Oh yeah, I
that-
forgot about those.
And,
I very
like,
barely browsed, like throwing shields and that sort of thing. And I believe they all have a special ability called Performance, which
Yeah.
probably does exactly what it sounds like.
There
You make perform checks when you do it. Yeah.
there are a number of feats in the feat chapter that are performance based, I believe. Kind of go into that. I think those are like things you can do to make your combat more spectacular, either as a gladiator or just because you're full of yourself, I guess. It seems pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like you could do a lot with it.
Mm-hmm. They added a bunch more teamwork feats for those of you who like that and who doesn't, because the teamwork feats were awesome before.
Yeah, I think that's
really?
more
Yeah.
Cavalier.
What kind of
Cavalier,
teamwork
Inquisitor, like
Don't tell Joe about the teamwork feats. I don't want.
yeah, Joe went crazy with the teamwork feats before.
Yeah, we talked about them before.
Teamwork feats are neat, but you kind of have to have everybody on board.
Yeah, but I like that. I think that's cool.
Ideally, when your characters are made, but you can kind of get them together after that. I mean, it's cool, but it's one of those things like, unless you're all kind of cool with, we want to play the group that uses this team stealth teamwork feat, or we want to play the team that flanks especially well using this feat. You know, it's going to be like, no, I don't want to take that. So one person.
I guess as long as it's viable for a couple people, that's that can be pretty cool to get together with one other person and be like, hey, you want to make characters that have awesome synergy, and like maybe they know each other or something. Like way back in 3.0, Ed and I did that once, and it was really fun.
Yeah,
it was a short-lived game, but it was cool.
That was pretty awesome.
But they have they even have like team pickpocketing. You know, like a stealth synergy where you can take the highest roll made by you and your allies on stealth checks.
Wow.
But yeah, I think they added a good variety to the teamwork feats in here. And you know, I mean, some of them are feats that the power gamer is never ever going to take. But you know, they have cool flavor, and I can see a lot of different characters taking them, or even just a Cavalier or Inquisitor who wants to take those feats and help their allies or help themselves, respectively.
Right.
And then they also added this big, giant an entire buttload of style feats for monks.
Yes.
For those people who like to punch things and split their stats in awkward ways.
Yeah,
That sounds kind of cool.
I mentioned this before we started recording, but I looked over the list of style feats, and there were none that I was really that interested in. I actually have a monk character in this game that we're playing online now, and I'm just like, every one of the, like, I think that some of the more advanced ones, like, each style feat also has 2 feats that you need the style to get. Some of those are okay, but none of the style feats themselves really impressed me at all.
Do you think that's because of the specific build that you have, or because they're just not that great?
Well, I think what it is that the style feats are sort of a... I don't want to say they're like a buy something in order to buy something, but none of them... I don't know, none of them are very powerful. I mean, maybe I'm just being a twink, but none of them are really very powerful on their own.
The only 2 I looked at with any detail were the Jinny style, which lets you use elemental fist stuff more often and gives you electricity stuff, and then the Manta style, which which makes your stunning fist unbelievably badass. And those were pretty cool. But, you know, I mean, I can see it's kind of a feat investment on a class that doesn't get a huge amount of feats.
Right. So,
yeah, I mean, I can see where you're coming from. Monks already have to split their everything in sort of a funny way. I think the thing that is cool about the style feats themselves is that, like, they add an amount of definition to a character, like for a character that it fits, you know? Like if you take Manta style, like if you're not a power gamer, which many of us are, you might even if there are other styles that are interesting to you, you might only take the Mantis style because you think it's cool, and you can call yourself like a student of Mantis style, and that's, I think that's cool. I think a lot of people identify with that sort of hipness from movies and books and whatnot.
I mean, I know I'll give him another once over if and when my monk character actually has a feat available, but I don't know when that's going to be.
You better.
Yeah, one day in the future.
All right. But there's a lot of unarmed fighting stuff in here. Like they really added a lot of stuff for monks,
and they also added
a lot of weapons for monks.
A lot of new potential for combat maneuvers. I don't know if they added any new maneuvers, but they added a lot of feats to support them. Adding extra options if you are really into that, which I want to be. I'm not really very good at it
for things like disarm, because it seemed like they had most of them covered in the core rulebook.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is like they have feats that add extra options for. I can't think of any of them off the top of my head, but like additional things you can do when you're tripping or disarming someone.
Yeah,
like one where I believe you can trip someone and make a free grapple check against them if you successfully make them prone. That sort of thing.
That's pretty cool. Yeah.
That's the only one that springs to mind.
I guess, Ed, you've read this book the most, and sure. I don't know if we mentioned this about previous Pathfinder products, but what do you feel about the power creep sort of game balance aspects? Like, is this book pretty in line, or is it kind of? What do you think?
I mean, I think that it's pretty well in line. I don't think it's adding anything that's really all that creepy.
Okay.
There weren't, as far as I can remember from looking through it, any prestige classes in it, which is, in my opinion, kind of where that is more likely to surface.
Okay.
Yeah, prestige classes and spells have always seemed like where the power creep comes in.
Well, there's only one completely new class, and I don't think that it gets an ambitious weapon selection, but the abilities that it gets with those weapons aren't overpowering. And the alternate classes, while interesting and effective, I don't think they're really better than their counterparts. I did not look at the spells very carefully, so that you're going to have to take with a grain of salt, because I couldn't tell you if there's any spells in there that make planet-busting combos possible. I kind of don't think so, but it's possible that I missed something.
There are a lot of spells, but I mean, I only looked at I've played a lot of D&D or D&D, associated things, and the first place I go is 5th level and higher spells, and I didn't see anything that sounded crazy. So I saw a lot of things that sounded neat.
I usually
But
start
that's about it.
at level 3, and if there's nothing that I would take instead of Fireball, I skip ahead.
That is an excellent strategy.
Cool.
So there's one other thing that I wanted to add. We didn't really hit on piecemeal armor, which is in the book, I noticed. This is pretty interesting and I think pretty fantastic story-wise. Instead of armor, they've got this alternate type thing where instead of having a full body piece of armor, the armor is split up into pieces, each with their own like spell failure chance, armor bonus. Like they have like upper leg pieces, or torso pieces. And the idea is if you can't don your armor quickly enough, you can
put on as many pieces as you can get.
You can put on as many pieces as you can get, or story-wise, you might find a piece like a helmet or something.
Right.
This really awesome helmet, but you don't have the rest of the armor to go with it. So you use your normal, really bad armor, but the helmet is totally badass. Or you find like a left arm, or like a left side, or something like that, or just the leggings.
So does that come along with some really complicated like call shot chart, or is that? Like,
I haven't read about it that much.
They did expand the rules for calling shots.
Yes, they did.
They have a whole section on it, and that's pretty cool because I like call shots. There's nothing like aiming for the fences Babe Ruth style, so to speak, and swinging at people's heads.
Yeah.
And
all I'm saying is it seems like what might end up happening is if you're going to pick up a super sweet helmet, you'd be like, oh, no, I take that shot to the head, like over and over again, which this doesn't seem to work. But continue.
I think the main effect of called shots in the alternate rules they add are not ignoring armor so much as adding effects. Like you can like slow someone down by hitting them in the legs. You can maybe stagger someone by hitting them in the head, that sort of thing.
Yeah, the different armor pieces. I think in this they give you more interesting things, like they could probably be enchanted separately if the GM wanted to go that route. They give you like, if you have just like leg armor and torso armor, you only get a portion of your total armor bonus. That sort of thing. It might affect call shots, but I doubt it affects them that much.
And they list like separate like armor bonuses for different items, so you kind of construct your suit of armor from whatever pieces you like. Which is sort of what I think the illustrator for the gunslinger was going for, with like a little bit of samurai stuff on her. Yeah, I mean, I think so, because it's like, a little bit of pirate, samurai, what have you on her.
Yeah, it's really
smattering.
Cool.
Yeah.
It just seems like it could add a lot to the story, or at least, very simply add a lot more to dungeon crawls or stuff like that.
I mean, if the players aren't afraid of a little extra bookkeeping, it might add something for them if they want it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think most players are down for that if it's cool.
And if you're playing a monk or a sorcerer or something, then who cares? You don't have to worry.
Hey,
take a vacation.
You get crapped on. It's like a crappy vacation. So yeah, aside from going into the nitty-gritty details, I can't think of anything else particularly to cover, aside from the fact that I think that, overall, I think Paizo put together what seems like a very interesting book, and a book I have several characters who will make very good use of, I'm sure.
Yeah, I was not paying very close attention. I did not know that this was coming out so soon, and so when I saw that it was out, I was like, oh my god, I need that now.
Seriously, he actually jizzed in his pants.
Maybe a little. But yeah, no, I was very pleased with the execution. I had seen the playtest classes, but that was pretty much it, and just about everything else in that book is, I mean, not every single feat is solid gold, but I mean, it's a really interesting book that I find myself going back to just read more and more of it.
Yeah, I was really surprised and excited that they had so many feats in it, and the archetypes are just, they have one for every class that came out, even Magus, I think.
Yeah, there's something in there for them.
And that's just amazing.
Yeah, they're really going the extra mile with a lot of stuff, and I appreciate that, considering the really awesome support we got when we played 4th edition.
Oh, what a waste.
But yeah, I mean, I was really excited about this book, and I hope anybody who's really into Pathfinder, and particularly into combat in Pathfinder, is going to give it a look, because it's definitely worth it.
Yeah, and hopefully we'll get to use some stuff from this book soon.
Yeah.
Very soon,
Yeah.
Jeff.
Well,
Yes, Jeff.
well, I
Indeed.
think on that note, we're going to probably wrap it up and give Jeff a little time to work on his game.
Yep, we sure are.
Wow.
Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely.
You guys can't see the glare I'm giving Jeff, but it's
I-
there.
I think that's the
It's
sign of
sinister.
excitement for Jeff.
It's hard to tell.
That's true. Over the internet, nothing comes across the way it's supposed to.
So yeah,
It could have been a sigh of intense arousal
Planning for murder.
for that one. They all sound so similar, I can't really tell.
There's
He's a
always
very
that
good
one.
role player.
Wow, this has been a punny episode.
Oh.
It got significantly worse just now.
Thank you for that, Joe.
You're welcome.
all right. Well, we're going to be blogging occasionally on our website, where you may very well have found this episode, www.houserule.com. If you haven't been there, you should check it out. We're going to be putting some stuff up.
It's a pretty great website.
Absolutely.
We're gonna blog when we know the date for our live stream of the next session.
Yep.
It's a Underdark based drow game in Pathfinder, and you should check it out. It might be fun.
Yeah, definitely check it out if you're not afraid of pictures of penises. Joe.
Again,
People love
you're all
this
very
one.
welcome. That is a promise.
Thanks, buddy. This is
Anytime.
what we contribute to the internet. Pictures of dicks and us talking about pictures of dicks.
I
All
know
right.
that's why you guys brought me on board.
Well,
All right, enough dicks.
yeah, I don't think I have anything else.
Yeah,
I say we
that about wraps it up.
we call that a wrap.
You got it. See you next time.
Peace.
Later.